So in Dashakam 12, not exactly the death you can say, maybe Varaha, Bhagavan starts fighting with the Lord. Dashakam 13, Hiranyakshavadah. Hiranyaksham tavad. So here Bhattatri says that your devotee, here he uses the word your diplomatic devotee. Bhavad bhakto gapta gatva kapatapatu meaning little smart. Smart, or you can say diplomatic. There are few people, right? When they speak, listening to them, actually they are very shrewd, but the way they speak, we feel that maybe what he's saying is correct. Right? So that is little they're shrewd in their approach. So Narada is one of them. So Narada's approach is little like that. So therefore, like the way he speaks, people feel that what he's speaking is the truth. But slowly, when you come near, we come to know that actually it is a trap or something like that. So therefore, Narada, what he does is he goes to the Hiranyaksha, and now basically Hiranyaksha was looking for the Lord. He was looking for Vishnu here and there. And at that time, Narada calmly he came and he speaks to Hiranyaksha that uh, you know what is happening? The earth that you brought down, she is being carried away by Hiranyaksha himself. So now Hiranyaksha was not aware. He had kept Bhuma Devi inside Patala, and then he was roaming about here and there in the waters. So at that time Narada comes and tells. Now why Narada plays this plot is so that ultimately Hiranyaksha and Varaha can come face to face and Vishnu can kill. But then very smartly he goes and tells Hiranyaksha, Vishnu is carrying away earth who had brought down with so much of difficulty. Hiranyaksha gets very angry. He runs behind Vishnu, and finally he sees Vishnu carrying carrying earth from deep inside the waters. And then what happens is the Lord, demons, we know their nature. They keep shouting this, that, everything he does. And finally he sees, now listening to all this, Vishnu ignores everything, but the earth whom he was carrying on his tusk, she started trembling, it seems, with the fear. And finally, what happened is, what you did in between, you had to fight. So therefore, firmly on top of the ocean, you place Bhuma Devi. He says, Payodhau Adhaya, verse number 3, this line comes. Payodhau Adhaya, meaning the earth is kept safely on the ocean bed, and then the Lord fights with Hiranyaksha. Finally, now Hiranyaksha has a mace in his hand, the Lord also has a mace, and both of them have a Gadayudam, that is there with a mace. They fight each other. Brahma, he cries out, it seems, from Brahmaloka that you please kill him before nightfall, because at night time Asuras, their powers they multiply. And at that time what happened is the Asura, in between what he does, he strikes you with his mace, your Gada falls down, and at that time what you take out your Sudarshana Chakra and you fight with the chakra. Now thus the Asura gets very angry, he throws his Trishula at you, and then what you did is with your Sudarshana Chakra, you broke that Trishula also. And like this, everything can happen. And so here Bhattatri in verse number 6, he says, Samatanod galanmaye maya tvai kila. Meaning, with your maya, you can even root down everything. For people like us, we feel that it is reality, but that's actually maya. Maya is nothing but illusion. The whole world gets treated by that, but it does not affect you. Like in the case of the different avatars also that take place, Krishna avatara, Rama avatara, any avatara, Lord only in that avatara behaves as per that character, but later he does not forget his original form. The same thing to some extent is applicable to all of us also. Now in a particular situation, maybe depending on the needs, now maybe say for example we go out somewhere, maybe you go to some office or something like that, the way people are around, or maybe the way the culture is there, we behave that way. Maybe the same, you go to a temple also, our mindset changes, maybe the clothes that we wear change, maybe the food or the prasada that we eat changes, and so on. Maybe you go to maybe a wedding or a party sort of a thing, again nature changes. So here that is very important. This is nothing like an example of maya that is there, but so it's like, just as the Lord takes different avatars, He's present in different places depending on the avatara. He changes his nature, but the original form is one and the same. He does not change that. Similarly, all of us also, maybe depending on the different places that we go, maybe we change our, you can say, our behavior or our conduct, or maybe the way we go our attitude that is there, that we change, maybe depending on the need of the place that is there, but original nature of one person should never change. Maybe I go to some place, I'm very proud, other place I'll show as if I don't know anything. Little, sometimes people behave this way, right? This is something which is wrong. This is nothing but Maya. You're cheating your own nature. This is what Bhattatri highlights here. So he says that Maya is something which does not affect you, though you are the one causing all Maya. Finally, what happens is, now Hiranyaksha was not an easy person to fight with, so he also uses all his powers. And finally, when Vishnu throws the Sudarshana Chakra, his Trishula was defeated. At that time, he attacks, it seems, with his fists. So both of them get into hand wrestling now. And thus, what you do is with your toe. Now, Bhattacharya is telling the Lord with your toe. Now, the toe of the Lord is quite big. It seems with your toe, you hit him under the base of the ear. So, basically, with the toe, he lifts his toe parallelly up and then he hits the Asura on the jaw part, or you can say side jaw, that is there, below the base of the ear. Finally, what happens is the Asura falls down. He fell down at your feet, it seems, with blood flowing from his mouth, and finally he was killed. So, verse number 8 is the killing of Hiranyaksha. All the sages are very happy, they chant different mantras on you. And now, verse number 9, what happens is Bhattatri describes the different parts of the body. He says, the Lord's skin are the Vedic mantras, it seems. His hair are the kusha grass. Eyes are the ghee that is offered in sacrifices. The feet are the four sacrificing priests: Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda. So, Hota, Advaryu, Brahma, and so on, that are there. The priest for each of the four Vedas, they are like the feet of the Lord, it seems. Face is the srik. What is the srik? The ladle that we use for pouring ghee into sacrifice. Your stomach is the ida. Ida is nothing but the vessel that is used for holding ghee and other sacrificial ingredients. Mostly it is ghee. Tongue is the soma patram, soma pot that is used during sacrifices. The ears are the chamasa, the spoon that we use for putting the ghee, and thus your powers that are there, that is nothing but somarasam itself. Then your neck is called the sacrifice. The actual sacrifice that is offered is represented by your neck. So therefore you are the one. Why this description is done in verse number 9 is to prove that you are the form of sacrifice itself. You are only the form of yajna. Your entire body represents sacrifice. So this is how all the sages praise the Lord after the killing of Hiranyaksha. Finally, verse number 10, Bhattatri concludes that, O Lord of Guruvayur, you became very happy by the different mantras and hymns chanted by the sages. Therefore, you be pleased on me also. I am also singing your glories. You please free me from all kinds of ailments. With this, Dashakam 13 concludes. Next, Dashakam 14, what happens is, now Hiranyaksha is killed. Again, now Swayambhuva Manu continues his process of creation, and what he does is, Swayambhuva Manu, he lived in his own Manvantara. Manvantara is meant for one Manu. One Manu rules over one Manvantara. So, very peacefully he was living. He had a very good life. He had a own family of his own. He was meditating on you, and so on. At that time, what happens is, there was a Prajapati called Kardama Prajapati who was born through from the shadow of Brahma, it seems. So, after listening to Brahma's words continuously, he also became interested in this process of creation, and he also worshipped the Lord, it seems, for about 10,000 years. And thus, there finally, being pleased with Kardama's worship, the Lord came in the form of Garuda and gave him darshana. And at that time, Kardama was praising you, it seems, and he was blessed with Manu's daughter Devahuti as his wife. So Devahuti and Kardama, they get married to each other, and the Lord also blessed him, saying that you would have 9 daughters. And he said that out of that, one son also will be born to you, and that is Kapila. So 14, 15, if you see, Kapila Avataram, Kapila Upadesham, Sankhya Yoga, Sankhya philosophy is given to the world. And finally, he says that after I am born to you as your son, finally you will also attain Mukti, then attain Moksha. So at that time, Manu's wife was Shatarupa. Now, as per Narayaneeyam, as per Srimad Bhagavatam, Manu's wife is Shatarupa. But there are few references, if I am not wrong, like the Brahma Purana, which highlight that the daughter of Manu is Shatarupa. But most of the references highlight that Manu's wife is Shatarupa. Just for your knowledge, you can note down. So, and Manu along with his queen Shatarupa, they have a daughter, who was Devahuti, as advised by Narada. Now again Narada comes into picture. He tells, and as originally told by the Lord and now as guided by Narada, she goes and she approaches Kardama. Finally Devahuti and Kardama were married to each other, and Kardama and Devahuti both start worshipping you. And finally then it seems now Kardama was a Prajapati. So that means you can consider almost like a sage kind of a thing. But it seems that he got a very good form, it seems, to please his wife. Both of them, they got a new body in the sense a good, even say a young man form that is there, like a newly married couple or so. And finally there is a garden that is built for them. Finally Devahuti and Kardama, they spend a lot of time together. After spending about 100 years, he begets 9 daughters. Finally, Kardama, now what happens is, like it happens in the case of most of us, maybe we don't want to retire to the forest, but at one point of time we feel, right, enough, satisfied. Same thing happened with Kardama. Kardama finally decides to take up sannyasa, and but then he had to hold on for some time because Vishnu had informed that I will incarnate as your son Kapila. That had still not happened, and therefore Kardama's wife Devahuti, she tells that you please wait, as told by Lord Vishnu. The son is not born to us, Kapila. He had to be born, so now you don't retire to the forest. So this was those times wherein after Grihastha people used to take up the next step, that is Vanaprastha. Today's times that we call retirement. So now Kapila, he waited, and while he was waiting, he engaged in the worship of the Lord. And finally, Kapila Bhagavan is born. Verse number 9. So Kapila Tamajayata Janana Prathayishyan Paramatma Tattva Vidya. Verse number 9, Dashakam 14. Finally, Kapila is born. And mainly the purpose of Kapila Avataram was to propagate Sankhya Yoga, to enlighten the world. Sankhya Yoga is nothing. Now, this Sankhya Yoga is different from Sankhya Yoga as told by Lord Krishna in chapter 2 of the Gita. Some principles are same, but there are two different philosophies altogether. And lastly, Bhattatri concludes that, O Lord of Guruvayur, you came in the form of Kapila when Kardama was about to leave to the forest. In spite of you telling him that I will be born as your son, after spending many years begetting 9 daughters, he decides to leave to the forest. And finally, what you did is you were born as told by Devahuti, Kardama's wife. You waited and then you told the Sankhya philosophy to your mother Devahuti. So now your Kapila Avatara is also described. Kapila Bhagavan, Kardama and Devahuti were also blessed. Now you bless me also and remove all kinds of ailments. Dashakam 15 talks about Sankhya philosophy, Kapila Upakhyanam. Kapila Tanurite Tvam Devahutyainyagadihi. This line is repeated in most of the lines, about 7-8 verses of Dashakam 15. Now, Dashakam 15 is directly Kapila starts with the, you can say, Sankhya philosophy. Now, as per Srimad Bhagavatam, little more in detail, you will have the Sankhya philosophy that is told, and how exactly Kapila was born, and more in detail. It will be there. But Narayaneeyam, you don't have too much of detail. Kapila is born, and Sankhya Upadesham is covered in Dashakam 15. So here Kapila starts. He tells Kapila is instructing the entire Sankhya philosophy to his mother Devahuti. So he says attachment of the sense organs will cause your over attachment towards your sense organs will finally cause your own, you can say, downfall that is there. So therefore be careful from that. It will lead to bondage. If you don't do that, if you have a control on them, it will lead to moksha. So this was the first thing that he told. And he says those having bhakti, that is those on the path of bhakti, they will always be aware. It will prevent from attachment. Now here wherever I say attachment, it is over attachment. A normal attachment that we have towards our own people, towards certain things, it is fine, but over attachment in places can at times lead to one's own downfall. So that thing is highlighted here. And he also, in the first verse, Kapila also highlights the importance of bhakti. He says devotion which will arise only when you have satsangam, people around you, and you should always follow holy men. Mahat anugamya labha bhakti eva. verse number 1, Dashakam 15. Meaning, you must follow holy men around you, holy sadhus, saints, and so on. By following their path only, looking at them, the way they follow. Maybe you can consider the different Acharya Parampara, Shankaracharya Parampara, and so on. The way they do, the philosophies that they follow, the path which has been set up by our gurus. When we follow that, we learn the right path of devotion. Further, he says there are different elements that are there. Now, all this we have already seen before, but still, there is Prakriti. Prakriti is nothing but this nature. Mahatattva is the supreme spirit. Then Ahankara, ego. Sense organs, five tanmatras, five sense organs, five tanmatras. Tanmatras, sound, smell, touch, form, taste. Five panchamahabhutas, space, air, fire, water, earth. Then Antakarana, mind. There is something Antakaranam. Sometimes we say, right, from within I have a strong feeling. That means maybe we don't say it outside, or there is nothing like that from that we experience outside, but from within we have a feeling. That is Antakarana. Then the 10 indriyas that are there. 10 indriyas, 5 sense organs. Then knowledge that is there. Uh, Knowledge is nothing but hearing, seeing, touch, taste, smell, and five karmendriyas. Karmendriyas is speech, hands, legs, the genital organs, and the excretory organs. Then you have Purusha. Purusha is nothing but the Atman. So, like this, there are 25 categories that are being told, and the Purusha, the person, should realize all these 25 categories, then he will be liberated from Prakriti. Now, this can get a bit philosophical, but this is nothing but Sankhya Yoga. So, basically, to be aware of oneself. Now you might be wondering what this, I don't know, that I don't have five karmendriyas. I have five karmendriyas, I have sense organs. Everyone is aware of this, right? But it is finally, meaning is to know the reality that is there. All these sense organs also, to what use we put it. Now we have years that are given to Dashakam 3. Bhattatri himself highlights, I think it is verse number 7 or 8, 8 I suppose, wherein he says for which purpose each of the body parts should be used. Now I have hands, right? I can use these hands maybe to kill someone, or maybe to do something good, maybe to write something good, or maybe to offer flowers, maybe to make a garland or something like that. The same hand can also be used for killing someone, right? My feet are there. Maybe the feet I can use to maybe go to good places, or maybe go to even places where evil things are being done. So the parts are the same, everything that we do is the same, the organ remains the same. The hand is the same hand, which maybe in the morning does something good, in the evening maybe it is used for something else. So it depends on us to know their true nature. I just gave you one simple example that is there. So this is finally Kapila Tanurtitvam Devahutyai Nyagadihi. This is what Kapila Muni is telling his mother Devahuti. Finally, Purusha by itself, it is free from Prakriti. That means Purusha, that is when a person is born, he is not affected by the world around him. Right? When a small child is born, anything happens, that's the reason why children you see in a young age, that is immediately after being born, they cry. Why? Because they are not exposed to Prakriti. Suddenly it is there in a closed, for 9 months or so, it is there in a very, you can say, shut circle. Finally it comes out, there's air, there's this, it is that, people around it talking this, it's not used to that. That's the reason it starts crying. So by itself, by default, a Purusha is nothing but the form that is there. It's not affected by anything, but finally when it lives around nature, by Prakriti, it is affected. Very simple example if I give you, all of us are affected by the world around us, right? So nobody now can say no, let anything happen, I'm not bothered by it at all. It doesn't happen that way. The world or the society, even people around us, they have some or the other influence on us. Then Prakriti, but the Lord says that we should not be too much attached towards this. Prakriti will leave us one fine day if we hold on to Purusha. Now, here Purusha means the Lord Himself. In simple terms, Purusha is a man. Purusha Suktam meaning the ultimate man. Purushaha. That is another name for Lord Vishnu. So he says Prakriti will also leave the person when he worships me, when he knows what is the reality. Now, this meaning, what is told is Prakriti will leave us, meaning all of us live in the world, all of us live in a society. But then to what extent it should have an impact on us, that is it. So everyone around me is killing each other, I'll also end up killing because Prakriti is like that. We don't do that, right? So therefore, things that are there, Prakriti will not have an impact on us if we worship Purushaha. Purusha is nothing but Lord Vishnu himself. Further, verse number 4, he says, by constant meditation on me, on my divine form that is there with Garuda, Shankha, Chakra, Kaustuba, and so on, you can attain this. Now he also tells the means of attaining this. Slowly it will happen. Nobody can say, let anything happen, I'll not be bothered by it, or it will not affect me at all. That doesn't happen. It becomes very, very difficult, right? Even now also, I'll give you a simple example. Even if now I'm telling you about this Dashakam 15, all of you are listening. But still, maybe nearby someone else is doing something, maybe some noise comes, immediately we look at that, right? Or maybe in your cases, because you are not speaking, you're listening, maybe someone comes in, you also talk with that person, we are distracted. So such things can happen. So it becomes very, very difficult to focus on things, to not be affected by prakriti, that is the world around us, people around us. But with practice also it will come. How will that happen? By meditating upon the form of the Lord. Next is, he says, by regularly listening about my stories, by chanting my name. That's how devotion is born. Doesn't happen in one day. He tells an easy way also. So Sankhya philosophy is not difficult. That is too philosophical. We have to understand it in the right way. And the devotion that should develop in one's mind, he says, that should be like river Ganga. So here you have that words that is told, Surasari Togha Prakhya Chitta Anuvrittihi, verse number 5. So just as river Ganga, it keeps on flowing till it finally goes and meets the ocean, that is the Bay of Bengal. So there is no disruption in between at all. River will always keep flowing. Similarly, bhakti should also keep flowing. If that is done, we will be free from the cycle of birth and death. Finally, what men do. Now, Kapila actually comes to the nature of men. What actually men do, what is expected, he tells. Next, finally, what he tells is, he tells men, they find a means of living, find a means of sustenance. They acquire wealth by even doing unfair means. Under the name of taking care of their family, they try to make easy money. And then at that time, what happens is, they feel that everything around them, money, is only the thing that is there. They don't have devotion at all. They'll be attached to worldly possessions, and thus that's how they have to endure the sufferings of hell. So therefore, you be careful from this, he tells Devahuti. Finally, he says that if you do this, again you enter the record, the jiva that is there, that is, you enter the womb of the mother. Like Shankaracharya highlights, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jathare Shayanam. Same thing Kardama also says, again you have to sleep in the womb of another mother. That too, not your same mother in this birth. Next birth, again you will have another mother. You have to again sleep there. You will lose all your memory. Again you will go through various sufferings. Then childhood is difficult, youth is difficult, everything. Then normal life, again old age, it will keep on repeating. Therefore you be careful from this. We have to be free from birth and death. Finally, then he, in verse number 8, he talks about the rules that have to be done, or the rituals to be followed by a grihastha. He says a grihastha, or a householder, he does pitruradam, devaradam, and so on. He does different rituals. That is nothing but the shraddha karma, the Brahma Yajnam, and so on. And then finally he goes the southern path. Southern path is nothing but Dakshina Dvopagami. Now after death, all of us have to go towards the south. Okay. So now south usually is considered to be something that is low. Now this reference also comes, just for your information, it also comes in the Sundarakandam. Sundarakandam, when Trijata sees a dream that, okay, so in the Sundarakandam also, Trijata, she gets a dream that she sees in the dream that Ravana will be defeated, and at that time she says that Ravana, I am seeing that he is moving towards Dakshina Disha. Dakshina Disha highlights loss that is there, or danger. Or even when you look at the market that is there, even in the stock market also sometimes this term is used. Market is falling southern, like maybe the current situation that is there. Anyone who has an idea of markets, you will know. Everyone is worried, right, nowadays. Where is the market going? Everything is falling. Ultimate losses that is there. So, like today's situation that is there, or maybe the last few days. So, like this why this term is used is southern or Dakshina Disha, meaning to fall down. Northern or to rise upwards is the north direction. So, here also same thing that is used is, a person will, that is a grihastha who follows all the rituals, he will go towards the southern direction after death, and he will again be born, wherein for all the good karma that he has done, he will enjoy deeds for that. And therefore, but those who perform actions, that is for those grihasthas who do something with an objective of getting back, I'm doing this, you give me back. Or sometimes people ask, I'm doing this, what will I get in return? It's okay if you ask to some extent, but now from each and everything, if I keep on asking, then it's of no use. Now say for example, if now I'm telling you about Dashakam 15, I have some expectation, right? All the 40 people should listen to me. But no, each one of you should listen to me very attentively. Nobody should do anything on your videos. Just nod your heads, whatever I'm saying, agree to every point. This is over expectation. Whereas, okay, I'm saying you listen. I believe that all of you listen, right? So this is something that is, I'm anyway going to speak. You don't have an option. You have to listen. But then there is no result that I'm expecting. Phalam is there. Without phalam, we cannot do anything. If all of you leave and go, will I speak? I won't speak, right? So expectation is there, but to what extent it is there, that is very, very important. Okay, I'm going to speak, all of you listen, that is fine. On your video, listen to me attentively, nod your head if I say. This is over expectation. Just to give you an example, so the Lord says, doing karmas is one thing, but then no, I did this, I did that. If you're proud of that, if you're waiting for some fruit to, always for the result to come in each and everything, if you do, again you have to take a rebirth. You'll go to places like Indraloka and so on, wherein you enjoy for some time for the good things that you've done. You'll get the fruit of that, but then after that, once that is exhausted, again you have to come back. Instead of that, those who do things without any expectation. Now, as I told you, humanly it is impossible. Even gods also, to some extent, if you see, like Indra and so on, also they have some expectation that they have. Without expectation we cannot do anything. But then the intensity should be normal. They, when they do some offerings to me without having a lot of desires, they will proceed northwards. Udhaka patartham, verse number 8, Dashakam 15, Udaka Padartham, they will proceed in the northwards direction after death. And finally, having known all this, he blesses Devahuti. She is also liberated, she attains purity of mind. And then he say, and finally Kapila Bhagavan also leaves with a group of people. And it seems that in the northeast part he stays, it seems, for the good of people. Even today it seems that in the northeast part we find Kapila Bhagavan, who is there. Finally, Dashakam 15, last verse, Bhattatri concludes that, what more do I have to say? You just talk about the influence, or you can say importance of bhakti, that surrender to your lotus feet will remove all kinds of fears. I am doing the same thing. Therefore, you also eradicate, you also free me from all my ailments. I surrender completely with bhakti to your lotus feet.